Hello again. This is On Imagination. We are going to cover why my classroom is so different. The reason why my classroom is so different is because, remember how I said in the last video, there's a lot of stuff inside of society that's not compatible with the subconscious mind and nature and everything organic. This is why. The way our learning center of the subconscious mind is set up requires three core things in an environment. The first one is psychological safety. If you do not feel psychologically safe, you are not going to learn. The entire subconscious mind goes into self-preservation mode. Learning mode in the subconscious mind is open to receive, which will not do if it does not feel safe. So you have to feel safe enough to learn, or your subconscious mind never opens. So that's the very first rule number one of all learning, psychological safety. So as a result, a lot of people have learning and education trauma. Learning education trauma associates and builds an association with traditional classrooms. So when you get into a traditional classroom setting, your brain starts the trauma. There's a lot of people with test anxiety. That's educational trauma. That is learning trauma. So as soon as you walk into a classroom, a lot of people, especially people with test anxiety, immediately have that build up and their brain shuts down. You're not learning a damn thing. Not going to happen because your brain has gone into preserve mode, not open to receive mode. So the very first thing we want to do is give you a psychologically safe place to learn. The first thing we can do about that, we're going to gamify this and turn it into a story. That's what we're going to be doing. That will show your subconscious mind that it's a playroom, and it is, and it's safe. It's a completely different type of learning. The other thing is, I'm going to give you big words here, called metacognitive awareness. Yeah, that's the word. You can Google this, metacognitive awareness. Metacognitive awareness is a really fancy scientific word for theory. It's great for theoretical learners. Now, everybody is a theoretical learner. So now I'm going to tell you what metacognitive awareness or theory learning really is. Your subconscious mind, your self-preservation system, subconscious mind, is a soldier. It is going to war, and its only job is to keep you safe. Now, when someone comes along with data to give you, you go to war and your subconscious mind goes, excuse you, is that correct data? Is that logic, or is that going to harm me? And it does a poison check. This type of poison is word poison. Word poison is a very serious problem. It immediately assesses the value of the information provided to it. And if it just doesn't think that it's good enough, it won't come into the system and it will close to protect. So metacognitive awareness is this is what I'm going to give you, and this is why you have to have it, and this is what it's going to do for you. That's theoretical learning. It is the what you have to learn, why you have to learn it, what it is for you, and the steps and process of learning. It's the overview or the orientation you receive in a classroom. Your subconscious mind goes, oh, okay, all right. You have permission to upload the data. And it sits back and it allows the learning to take place. So the moment a student walks into a classroom, a proper teacher is going to know that the subconscious mind is on high alert and it's going to go, oh my God, what are you doing? And it's going to require metacognitive awareness to calm it down, to give it a psychologically safe place so that it can learn. So we're going to be starting you off with metacognitive awareness. Now, metacognitive awareness is a type of learning called exoteric. Exoteric is an ancient Greek word that means outsider. Another word for it is Sassenach, which means outlander. It means you're an outsider, so you don't know. The other word for this is esoteric, which means insider. When you do anything, you are an exoteric. When you decide to learn, you are choosing to go into a journey, a learning journey, to go from being an exoteric into a science or a study so that you can become an esoteric of that vocation. That is learning. It is the journey of going from an exoteric to an esoteric. So before we begin this journey, you first need to receive exoteric instruction. Exoteric instruction is the metacognitive awareness that we give to you so that you know what's going on, that you're going to go through this journey so that when you walk into the dragon's mouth, we're going to go into a dragon's mouth, guys. It's going to be really cool. When we go into the dragon's mouth, you are going to learn what you can expect. Now, the subject that we are going to talk about is you. You are an exoteric of you. So every time you learn anything, you are actually becoming an exoteric and you're turning into an esoteric of the self. That's what all learning is about. So the more you learn, the more you become an esoteric of you. This is really, really important for building your story and knowing your relativity to the story and all of life. Now, after the exoteric instruction and after you receive the metacognitive awareness, there's going to be the next stage. The next stage is doing. The doing is the process of learning. The doing is the skill building. This is the part where almost everybody gets this wrong. In order to get this right, you have to understand what skill building is, which skill you are building, and you have to be sure you are building it right. And you need to know how to do it, what you're doing, when you're doing it, where you're doing it, and why. This is skill building. So when you do skill building, you have to make sure that you are actually building the right skill. A lot of people mess this one up. We're going to use the United States educational system as an example for this one. You go to school, you sit on your butt in a chair, and you listen. Congratulations. You are learning the listening skill. That's it. If they tell you to pick up a book and read, you are learning the reading skill. The bell rings, you go to the next class. Congratulations, you are learning the obedience skill. It's called Pavlov's dog. You then sit down in your next classroom and you sit there and they give you instructions. You are getting the following instructions and obedience skill. They tell you to listen, to copy, to read. Those are all the skills you're going to learn for 13 years. Copy, listen, read, obey. Those are the skills you learned in school. Those are the skills you learned in school. You didn't learn any other skills. Now, if you went to a vocational trade school, you actually may have. If you went into theater and drama class, you may have actually learned a skill. If you went into band or chorus, you actually learned a skill. There are only 12 life skills, only 12. We're going to be covering those in exoteric instruction later. So that all being said, this is the part that's really important that we go over with you so that you can recognize which skill you are building. That way you can decide which skill you need to build. We'll be covering that. And also how to apply it to your life. That way you can look for it. Now, this is where 90% of all of your learning is done. Now, part of the skill building is you going through the skill building. You're going to be going along and then you're going to hit an obstacle. This is good. This is the way you learn. The obstacle is the lesson. So what you really want to do is you really want to find Mother Nature's lessons. Now, when you find Mother Nature's classroom, that's when it's time for you to actually do the learning. So the doing is you mining for the classroom. You got this? This is really cool. This is exactly like blockchain stuff and digital coin. It's the exact same science. It's the exact same psychology. So you are going to be mining while you are doing a skill. Now, if it's going smooth for you, great, you're mining, but you're not learning. You're practicing, but you're not learning. The learning comes when you hit an obstacle, and that's when you find, that's when you find your Bitcoin. That's when you find Mother Nature's classroom. Now it's time to actually learn the lesson. So now what's going to happen is one of two things. First, you're going to use scientific method. I have the Ashavana scientific method. I'm going to be teaching it to you because you're going to need the Ashavana scientific method to literally reverse engineer your problem. That is what you're going to do. Now, you're going to try, and that's okay. That's called trial and error. And then you're going to move on to start stage 3 of your learning journey. Stage 3 is you contacting me, joining our Q&As, and asking questions. That is what questioning a teacher is for. You are supposed to be going, okay, I ran into a problem. I found Mother Nature's classroom. And it was a big boulder. Yep, that's right. Very good. And I tried to do the Ashavana scientific method. And I went through the science. Yep. And I just can't figure it out. Very good. Very good. That is learning. Now we're going to have a discussion. So the discussion is actually us rewriting the entire logical code of your storyline to get through the problem. We're going to be talking about that a lot. So don't worry if that went over your head or you missed it or you went, wait, what? Can I get that written down? We're going to cover a lot of that. So that's the discussion. Now, after we work out the logical code of Mother Nature's classroom, I'm going to say to you, now go do it again. And you're going to go back and you're going to go through the mining and it's going to go really smooth. And then you're going to hit that classroom and you should be able to work your way through it with the Ashavana method. Now, once you get through the Ashavana scientific method, yeah, and you keep sailing and you're now every time, this is the best part, every time you overcome one of those classrooms, you get better. Now, this is where we get the degrees of freedom. The degrees of freedom is really amazing science and really amazing mathematics. This is basically everything that decides a vector, okay? And basically what happens is it's actually a reverse vector, so that it starts off with a really big problem. It's like a reverse degrees of freedom. It starts off with a really big problem. This is reverse engineering, reverse engineering. So you start off with a really big problem and then you do it again and the problem gets smaller and smaller so that eventually, degrees of freedom, you won't have a problem. And once you figure out problem solving, that's the mathematics of problem solving, you don't have problems because you understand the mathematical formula for reverse engineering them and you have developed the problem solving skill. And that's how it's done. Now, when you apply that to the logical sequence of story in the right order, you're unstoppable. And your entire brain runs the right way, the right direction, smooth and clean, and you get to do whatever you want to do, and you fly like an eagle. I mean, it goes really fast. It's amazing. So that is the 3 types of learning: metacognitive awareness with theory, doing and skill building, and discussion. And we're going to put that all together with trial and error. So that is one of the aspects that we're going to be covering when we go through this. Now, I'm going to say again, this is a DIY course, which means you're going to be watching a lot of my little videos. I'm going to be doing some weird stuff. I'm going to be posting articles. I'm going to be dumping some stuff in here saying, hey guys, go do this. It's awesome. You go do whatever you want. I'm going to tell you these are what you want to read. And then you go do the assignments on your own time, come back, join us for Q&A, and then bombard me with your questions and we'll problem solve it for you. We also do a mixer and like a pizza party on Fridays, which is just a meet and greet. Hey, how are you? And all that jazz. That way you guys can be as social as you want to be, need to be, all that jazz. Now, I'm going to have some surveys and stuff like that and data to get my control group. That way I have data. This is going to be optional, but it's also going to help me out a lot, which will also help future people. So I'm going to do another video that breaks down what a control group is in the science language so you guys understand why we're collecting data and what exactly all that means. And that's going to be optional. Now, if you're just here to do the course and you don't want to do the control group, that's okay. If you apply and you do the control group, that allows us to get far more data so we can tweak the program so it can do a lot more, a lot further for a lot more people, and that will help everybody out. So we're going to go ahead and give you that information on control groups and how you can jump into the supporting the scientist role and all that uber awesome jazz. One more thing, I have the Mermaid Cove, which is my office, and that's my hangout joint. So that's also on Facebook. Hop on over to the Mermaid Cove if you just want to hang out. And I'm always available there for questions as well. So, oh yeah, just come over and hang out. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.